scrappy friends. I wanted to get on real quick today and say happy Halloween, and also a group of us YouTubers, I'm not sure how many of them there are, but a few of us have decided to do an album share today and post on our channels on Halloween. So I thought it would be fun to go back into the archives of Hannah Lemieux, because a lot of the beginning stuff that I did, I haven't shared, which a lot of the beginning stuff, most people scrapbook, we don't share. Probably because we do it on our own, and for many of you guys who have been scrapping a very, very long time, YouTube wasn't really a big thing. Sharing wasn't, or like sharing online probably wasn't as big of a thing. When some of you guys started, I guess it just depends. If you don't know and you're newer to my channel, I started scrapbooking in 2014, so I am still a very new scrapbooker in the terms of longevity, but I definitely have seen a big improvement and a big change in styles since I started scrapping, and some of it has to do with what stuff I was looking at, and some of it just has to do with me playing and just finding my style. So I thought it'd be fun to go through and just kind of look at one of my older albums. Now I store my stuff, I try to store it in time. Why? So I try to put a year or a few years of worth of layouts in for a specific time period in an album. So that is, I think, how this is. So this has a lot of my newer, or a lot of my older stuff, but I thought it would be fun to go through. I know a while ago I bought quite a few albums because I don't have like a ton of open albums, so I generally scrap more than I have albums. So which it makes it a little bit different, and the fact that I don't scrap chronologically at all definitely does kind of make putting albums together a little bit harder, because you're not putting, I'm not always scrapbooking a certain year, though I do scrapbook a lot of the year that I'm in, so that tends to fill up a lot quicker. But anyway, so here we go. Let's see. Hopefully I won't knock anything over while I do this, and hopefully things will be straight. I might have to figure out how I can do this without knocking my camera. Let's see. Let's see how this works. Okay. So this layout right here is one of the first layouts that I did. As you can tell, it is pretty old, a looking older style. It's very, very simple. At this point in my scrapbooking, I really didn't have a lot of embellishments, so I cut out the leaves on my own, and I just used scissors to make these wonky flower petals. I did a lot of paper piecing back then, and just cut out the butterflies, and I actually used some markers to kind of fill in those, and then I added this, and it's really simple. It has journaling, and it tells the story of Leilani when we found this. So this is Leilani. It's in 2009. So she was just a little tiny baby, not even a year yet, and because that was in the summer. And obviously, which is what I said, I couldn't remember the exact date of when that picture was, so that's why I just put it this way. But it's really, really simple, as you can see, and we'll just leave it at that. There's really not much to tell about it. I used the paper packs back then, so this is pretty much all die cuts with a view type stuff. Okay, so this one right here this is probably going to get pretty difficult just because of the way my album is. Okay, so this is one that I made, and I actually Oh gosh, got that from a sketch, I think, from either scrapbook.com or somewhere online. I got a whole bunch of like sketches and like classes that had sketches and type stuff like that. And so I followed the sketch, and that is a 5x7 picture. This was when I had a few more things and I was starting to add some stuff. So I have some buttons, some cameras, a flower. I mean, it's closer to stuff that I do now. Definitely, for sure. Those are those candy dot things. They're like enamel dots. That's when I first found those, and boy, did I love those. And these are actually brads. So it's just a really fun layout. When I was finally starting to find more pattern papers and adding in cardstock, I probably was in a kit club because I have plain cardstock on here. So I probably was getting Scraptastic at that time, even though I don't see any of Scraptastic stuff. So I did this sometime in like May or June, maybe. June. We'll just say June. That summer I did so much scrapbooking. So I got a ton of stuff. Of course, not as many layouts as I get done now, but that's just because I can make, it takes a lot. It doesn't take me as much time. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully the lighting isn't too bad. It's like not sunny and it's not overcast. Not completely overcast today. So it's actually probably a good day for filming because I don't have too much direct sun. So this is a layout I made a couple of years ago when I was getting Scraptastic. I can tell because this is like either Scraptastic or Stampin' Up cardstock. These are pictures that my grandmother printed off that had the border on them. She was my grandmother is very into printing photos, which is actually something that I need to make sure that I document, because when I went back home in February, I looked through a lot of my grandmother. She just has albums of photos, and it was funny to look at it from a different point of view as more of a scrapbooker and think, you know, my grandmother, she does scrapbook. She just doesn't tell the stories in words. She just uses pictures. And so it was kind of fun to see that. This is all Teresa Collins stuff. I know that's a Scraptastic. So this is a little bit closer to what I do now. It's, you know, it's very simple and stuff. I may have shared this one online because I was sharing online back then. So I actually was doing process videos. So I'll probably try to go through and see if I can find any process videos and link those below, because I did have a channel way back in August of 2014. So I really wasn't scrapbooking that long when I started my channel. So you really get to see a good change in my style. Okay, so this is one of the first few layouts that I made. It wasn't the very first, but it was probably the first 2 or 3 that I did. And once again, you see that picture of, or that frame around, because that's what my grandmother, she liked to add those kinds of things. So it's a waste of ink if you ask me, and it really distracts from the photos. But thank goodness I had some other photos of my daughter Kaden. Now this was when she was first born. So I probably took these off my camera and printed them off. We do have some stuff like on backed up, but I actually don't have that much from when the girls were really little, just because of computers getting lost, and I wasn't as big as making sure that I had stuff stored well. But I thought it would be fun to add pictures of flowers on my layout. This is way before I knew anything about style. So it's really weird to look at this. I mean, this is the worst layout ever. Well, okay, it's not the worst, but it's one of the worst layouts. because it has no design or anything except for a big square in the middle, and I didn't have much paper and stuff, so it was really simple. I didn't even journal. I just put that these were her first pictures. I mean, I didn't even have that many alphas, so I did a lot of stuff with like markers and stuff like that the first few ones. So it didn't take long for me to realize that I really liked it and I really wanted to get supplies. So I found some stuff where what I could, like this Martha Stewart flower or butterfly was really pretty. So it would be fun to go back and take these photos and like actually do a real layout with them. I don't know if I could probably salvage these. I might be able to, but I hate to just take this apart because this is part of the journey. And this is the hard part. It's part of the journey of me scrapbooking. So you see this and it's like not very good, but it's not horrible. I mean, it could be worse. I think what really distracts is the fact that I have these photos and I tried to put the vellum over top of the flowers to make it look pretty, but really because of the type of glue that I used, it just looks horrible. So yeah. So moving on, let's see, making sure I'm keeping everything in frame so you can see. Okay, this was when I started getting Scraptastic. I don't know if this was a Scraptastic kit that I used. I think it was, but I don't remember. But I know this paper wasn't. This was one of the first times that I went into the scrapbooking. There was a store in Hawaii that used to have some scrapbooking stuff. It was like kind of like a Joann's or something, but it was really expensive just because everything in Hawaii is expensive. No lie, I spent, for some of the papers that I bought there, they were $1.29 a sheet. So I know a while back I was listening to Tracy talk about her experience at one of the expos or something, and she was talking about how the papers were over $1, and it just reminded me of shopping in Hawaii. And that's basically, if you wanted a brand new paper or a newer paper, you were going to pay $1.29. So boy, did I get duped, right? That's okay. So I was outlining everything back then because I did watched a lot of Mercy Tierra. Well, I still watch a lot of Mercy Tierra, but I layered a lot like that. I layered a lot like how she did. I think we all probably did at some point in that time period, right? So outlining your papers was a lot more common and stuff, and it really does help it pop. I think I outlined the flowers on here. And I remember I wanted to play with splatters, and I didn't have splatters back then. I just couldn't really afford, well, I could afford, but I didn't realize that I could afford to get like Heidi Swap or anything. So I used nail polish. So this was one of the first layouts that I ever did splatters on, and I just used nail polish. Hopefully it will stay on. I mean, it looks pretty good so far. So this is in 2010. So as you can see, me looking very post-pregnant. I totally look so different now. And my girls, obviously, they look a lot different, and my husband looked so young back then. So boy, have we grown in the 6 years, right? So here's another picture. This was one of the first few kits that I got from Scraptastic. I absolutely loved that kit, actually. It had a lot of like wood grains, and I think this is Maggie Holmes Market Street, maybe. Maybe this wasn't using all of that kit. Some of it was from the kit. Like I know this was, and I think this was, and maybe that. And I know this was. But I added some other stuff that I had, some crepe paper, some flour. Like I didn't have that much, so I just used what I had. I did a lot of printable, like hybrid stuff back then that I didn't realize it was hybrid. I just didn't have a lot of money, so I just found stuff and I printed it off from scrapbooking, you know, people who were offering free journaling things, or like pieces that you could print off. And so I did a lot of that. So it's very simple and cute, but lots of layering, closer to the style that I do now. And so yeah, I did a little bit of journaling. I'm glad I did. Can't even look so little. it's fun seeing pictures. Now, as you can see, these are not in really order. I just put them in based on dates. So here is another one that I did really early on because as you can see, it has like hardly any embellishments. But one thing I did add was a piece that we had that used to be hanging in her room when she was a lot younger. We had this dragonfly. It's a wood piece. It's pretty thick. I mean, it's not really any thicker than a lot of the other stuff that I add. So, and then I had these like sequins that had butterflies and I drew on there. And so this is a really simple grid design. And it only has 2 pictures. It has pictures of Leilani from Easter, that Easter. And she had these rabbit ears. She was so cute. She was a happy baby. And so I just titled it with those. These are like horrible. I wonder if they're ever going to pop off. Okay, so here's another one that is also from the very beginning. As you can see, I spilled coffee or something on it, so that's really nice. I used to scrapbook at my table because I didn't have a desk. Well, when I first started, I was scrapbooking at the table because my husband was away when I really caught the bug. And so I did a lot of scrapbooking at the table, and the kids would play in the living room or they would play like kind of outside. And so they scrapbooked, I scrapbooked, they played, and it was a really fun, it was a good way to, because my husband was gone for almost 2 months, it was a good way for me to use the time wisely while he was gone. So, because I could take up the table if I wanted to. The kids were pretty little, but it's like lots of layering and flowers and stuff. I might have used a sketch or something because I think at this point I was using a lot of sketches. And like here's another hybrid thing that I printed off from scrapbook.com, I think. Okay, so here is one that I made not that long ago actually, so I know I have a video. Oop. Sorry for the bumping. This is going to be a long video. I probably shouldn't be taking too long. So this one I did not that long ago, so I'll make sure I have a thing. Lots of mixed media. It's really cute. Lonnie is very cute. Some journal. As you can see, there's definitely a lot more journaling in the stuff that I do now, but not always. So, okay, here's another early one that I did. Pattern paper blow up. I would never use all this pattern paper. All these different types of different pattern papers, I would never put them all on a thing together. This is what happens when you don't know much about design and you don't know much about, and you're just starting. You just like throw everything that you have on a page because it's what you have. So lots of different, some die cuts with a view. This is October Afternoon. I actually really like that paper. It was really fun. And then there's my girls playing. Some brads and stuff. Everything is outlined. That does actually make it look really cute. So, okay, so I know I have a video for this one, I believe. So I'll try to make the ones that I know I have videos for, I won't talk about too much. But this is still one of the ones that I was doing near the beginning of my scrapbooking when I really was starting to layer. So I'm using some of Maggie Holmes. I love that kit. Whenever I look at papers from that collection, I'm like, oh, I love it. But I added some twine around. I was dabbling in mixed media back then, so I did a lot of different stuff, and then I would cut them out and put them in. So I'm pretty sure I have a layout for that, or a video for that, so I won't go into too much detail. This one, I'm not sure if I have a video for, but I think I remember doing this. This was a couple of years ago too, so this is quite older. But the picture wasn't really all that great. It had a black, like, I don't know, probably my finger or something. But it was a picture of at a playground that we used to play at while we lived in Texas, and you can see the mountains, and it was really, really pretty. And it was one of the things that I loved about that place, is that the view of the mountains there was really pretty. So actually, we've always lived in a place that had mountains somewhere. that were pretty. It's a theme, but lots of, like, there's some mixed media stuff. There's my adding different pieces of paper, so you can see the style that I used to have. It's still pretty similar as far as like lots of layers and stuff. Just I've honed in my okay, make sure you guys can see there. Okay, so this one I know I have I'm pretty sure I have a video for, so I'll make sure I link that below. But this is just using stuff from an old Scraptastic kit that had a lot of like, I will say that had a lot of like bright colors, but then it had some of these like yellows and stuff. I'm not sure if I care for the way that that all looks together, but you know, when you have a kit, you just use it because it's pretty. And that was a really, really nice kit. Actually, I remember that. It had a lot. It had some pink paisley stuff, and it was really pretty. So my daughter looks so young. Okay, so here's another one. But like I said, these are all from the same semi time period, like 2009 to 2010 probably. So lots of like little kid pictures and layouts, which are always fun. This one I'm almost positive I have a video for too. This was when I was doing lots of mixed media. This is the Chamel line, so I just gotten that, and I did some stamping and stuff. I will say I don't really care for the way that this looks, some of this looks now that it's been sitting around. It kind of looks like I maybe dropped stuff on here instead of actually doing, that rub-on looks horrible. And this is only a couple years old. So it's funny how you see things, and it's a cute layout. I'm not sure. I think this kind of all distracts from this, but I was just adding stuff on layers and having fun. And I think that's part of the process of when you're learning your style. So yeah, it was a really cute picture of my daughter. I did no journaling on here. I really should. Besides that, it's just a cute picture of my daughter, which, you know, we got to have those layouts, right? Especially when our kids are little, we got to have the layouts of our kids just looking cute. So here's another layout that I actually did at around the same time as I did that other one with my daughter. This was, I believe this was using a sketch too. So, but there's lots of layering. I used buttons and stuff. You can see that I had some wood buttons, but I also had some of my own like wood buttons. I used to make jewelry a little bit, like bracelets and stuff with hemp, and so that's what I had a lot of these wood buttons from. I'll definitely say not all of this stuff goes together, but you know, it just goes, it shows that I just used what I had, and I didn't really know when I was buying stuff what went together, so I used a lot of cardstock in the back. I mean, it's not too bad. At least it matches semi-Texas, and that's when we were in the Stockade. So this is actually down near Dallas. It's in Arlington. So down in the Stockade area. I think we went to Ricky's that day. But anyway, okay, on, because I'm trying not to make this video like way long. Hopefully I can get through it in a half an hour. Okay, so here's another one that I did a couple of years ago. I was doing stamping and a lot of like embossing back then. I think I had just gotten my heat gun, and so embossing was something fun. And actually it looks really cute. It matches this butterfly paper here. I'm not sure if all of this paper really matches together, but it doesn't look horrible. It's a cute, it makes me think of fall, like some of the colors that I'm doing now. So I'm pretty sure I probably have a video on that, so I'll try to link that. And I actually really like that. It's cute. I wish I did some journaling, except for I know she was eating yogurt that day. That was when we lived in El Paso, obviously. So, here's a Halloween layout. So this was my kids in 2010, so 6 years ago when we went trick-or-treating. Lonnie was Minnie Mouse and Kaden was a Dalmatian, and she wasn't even a year old, so, or she was, no, yeah, she wasn't even a year old because she's in her birthday's in February. So I had some of these leaves that had like dips and stuff. And this one was fun. I just cut the circles out and just put them all behind. Kept it really simple, added some chipboard. I mean, I don't really have a huge fall stash or a huge like Halloween type of stash because we don't really celebrate Halloween that much. I mean, we go trick-or-treating, but that's about it. And especially when we were like here in El Paso, we didn't go and do a lot of fall type stuff, that just because there wasn't a lot of that stuff to do. So we didn't do pumpkins and stuff back then. So here is a layout that I did. I know I have this on my YouTube channel, and this was inspired by a layout that Jen Scalhad did. I don't even remember what the original one looks like, but she had tons of like circles and stuff, and so I did circles and I added and I punched them out. That was when I got that new scallop punch, and these were Scraptastic cut and print type stuff. So I'm pretty sure I have a video for it, but I added some mixed media. This one's just really cute. I think that if I would redo this, I either would have put the whole mixed media across the whole thing, or I would have left that off and did that on a different picture, because I feel like it kind of distracts from this stuff. But you know, it's just kind of funny how like you just do things a little bit different. So this is definitely an older layout that I did when I first was getting stuff. This was the first really big collection that I bought. This was from Simple Stories. I absolutely loved this collection, and I want to say I think it's because it's bright and it has the light. It had more of a white background than it did that vintage feel. So this was nice and fun. Journaling, a cute picture of Kaden, which I believe I've scrapbooked that. So I know I wasn't doing videos back then, just lots of layering. I probably used a sketch because it actually follows either that, or I was following a design, as far as like what Schmill did, but I'm not sure. So anyway, here is another layout that I may have a video for. I have no idea, but I was doing videos back then, so I'll have to go back and look. That's probably what's going to take the longest, getting this video up. So here is lots of layering, lots of stuff exploding on my page. That's just how I did my pages back then, which is fun. I mean, it was what I did. They're cute. I used a lot of cute stuff on my pages. So here's another one that I did when I first started scrapping. As you can see, it's really, really simple. I actually wouldn't mind going back and adding stuff to this, but I don't know what I have that would have the same feel. I really liked this title, and I think I was afraid to add extra stuff later because I didn't know what to do. I may have used a sketch for this, which is probably why I knew how to put everything. Back then I was using sketches, but I really wanted the sketch to tell me what size papers to use and everything. But I love this photo of my daughter and my husband in a bouncy house. That was at a block party for our church. Lonnie was just so cute. She had such long hair. Okay, so this was one of my older layouts that I did. Actually, this one is really good. I probably use a sketch for this. So I do not know this, where I got the sketches from. I did a lot of just searching for sketches, and I used a lot of creative scrapper sketches and stuff like that. So this one, I'm pretty sure I don't have a video for. I think this was before videos, but I loved, like I said, I love this collection. So this is my daughter and my husband. We had just moved to El Paso, and you can see we didn't have our stuff yet, so we were there for a month without our stuff. Most of the duty stations that we've moved at, we've actually had a period of time where we just couldn't have our stuff because, yeah. Anyway, so this video is not very long. Here is another layout. I'm pretty sure I may have a video on this, so I will have to look. This one has mixed media on it. It's cute, I think that's some stamping. That might be a Scraptastic stamp. Some Maggie Holmes. Just some bits and pieces that I layered in around my photo and left it. And I kept it pretty simple. This actually would look good with like some gold something gold to match this. Okay, so this I know I have a video for, so I won't share too much about this, but this is still one of my older ones. This is all back from a couple of years ago. This was when I was using a lot of gelatos, and there was a Maggie Holmes layout with a whole bunch of different tags and stuff. And so I wanted to replicate that, but using gelatos. So I did a lot of that on there. I will say some of it got smudged over here. That's kind of annoying. Well, I didn't actually do a whole lot of journaling. I wish I had journaled a little bit more on here. I mean, this was still after the fact anyway, so it's not like I can't go back and add more stuff. But this was one of my favorite photos that I took at a park that we used to play at quite a bit when we lived in El Paso, and the kids loved it. We used to go with our friends. We'd meet up and go to the park, and the kids would play. Well, one of the first few parks when we didn't live on Post. So, okay, so here is a picture of, I believe I used a sketch for this one, and there's tons of tags and stuff floating around. It's cute. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff going on. It's a hodgepodge because it is like stuff from my Scraptastic kit. This was the first Scraptastic kit that I got, and I absolutely loved getting a kit. When I first started scrapping and then I started getting a kit, it really changed. So there's all three of my children. They look so tiny. So tiny. Look at you. You're a little baby, Samuel.
Those ones don't look like babies.
Well, Kaden was a baby. She was 1.5.
Is Nani?
And that's Lonnie. Yep.
Is she a baby?
She was 2. Well, she was probably she was probably 3.
I want yoga.
Okay, well, in a little while, I'll get you something for lunch, okay? We got to check your blood sugar. Mommy's going to quickly share a few more pages, and then I'll get you something to eat. So why don't you go get what you want out. Yep, this was Halloween in 2011. I don't know if I have a video for this, so I will look. I feel like I do. I did some stamping.
No,
and
yeah, that's
I know
me.
You're wearing a Tigger costume.
You mean a lion?
No, it's Tigger. See, Tigger. Tigger is like a tiger. And Kaden was a kitty cat, and Lonnie was Dorothy, but I forget who she said she was. I think she was telling everyone she was Dora, even though she picked out Dorothy. That was really funny. I should actually do a layout that talks about that Lonnie was telling everyone that she was Dora. I know, I heard you. You can hold on a minute. You go wash your hands and face from the candy that you ate, please. Did you finish it? Okay, go. Sorry about that. This is real life. So this is what happens when I take about a half an hour. Okay, please go wash your hands and your face and go pick out your yogurt, and I'll be there in a few minutes. Okay, this was another one of the ones that I did when I first started scrapping, or like that summer that I started scrapping. I outlined that. I might have used a sketch for this because I feel like it's pretty like together. Actually, it's not too bad. Lots of layering and stuff. I definitely fell in love with layers, and I fell in love with just doing my own thing. Samuel looks so tiny. Okay, so here's a layout that I don't think I did a video for, but I know that I did this a couple of summers ago. And this was one of our dogs, Emmett's. He was a great dog. I miss him. That was before we went to Hawaii. We had him, and Lonnie was had him on the leash, I think. But I did lots of stuff. This was right after I took a class from Shamel, and so I was really starting to do stuff on my own. And okay, well then you need to wait. There's some downstairs. In the bathroom downstairs, you can grab one. I'm not grabbing one for you. Okay, so here is a layout that I did a couple of years ago. This is using all this. I was outlining a lot of stuff. Actually, it looks really good outlined. You can see it. There's layers, stuff sticking out. That's cute. The kids look cute. Here's that same type here. You can kind of tell, one, I'm using a lot of the same stuff, and it all looks, oh, not similar because the style is similar, but similar because the papers. I was using a lot of cardstock back then because I was getting them in my kits. I'm glad I used that because I still have tons of cardstock from that beginning, and I usually use white now, but lots of different stuff. I journaled in like I was using a journaling pen that had gold in it. I'm not sure I really care for that now. I hope it doesn't like bleed out over time because it kind of doesn't look as good as it did when I first did it. But that's my husband and my son. Boy, he looks yellow. That was when he was like only a couple days old. So tiny. My kids were tiny kids. Which is not surprising because I'm not very big. Okay, guys, I am almost done. If you have sat through and looked at all my layouts, I thank you so very much. This I may or may not have a video for. I use a sketch for this one, and I just use lots of different stuff. No, I'm sharing just the whole thing. Okay, this was when I was getting Scraptastic. I don't think I was doing videos here. It was right before I started doing videos, though. And this was also a great kit. I think I was using mostly that whole kit. I might have added like 1 or 2 extra things for my stash. But I didn't really have a big stash back then, so I pretty much used whatever I got on my kits. And I just used it all up because, well, and I was adding a lot of stuff to my layouts back then, as you can see. So here's a layout. I'm pretty sure I have a video for this one. I actually really love this one. It's really cute. Some stamped images. These were cut out from a piece of paper, and I just put them on pop dots. In a black and white. That was Sam at the zoo. And then this last layout, I know I have a video for. It has some mixed media, and I absolutely love this picture. This is one of the few pictures of all of us together as a family. We don't have a whole lot of just us as a family, but lots of fun. This is using a Scraptastic kit, except for this part. That wasn't part of the kit. Actually, maybe not all of it. Some of this is from the kit and some of it isn't. But lots of geometric type things going on and mixed media, and that was just nice and fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Going through memory lane, looking at some old layouts and old pictures of my kids. And seeing some stuff that I did when I first started scrapbooking. And I'm going to try to do some album shares every once in a while. I don't have a ton of albums because, like many of us, my stuff ends up in stacks. But ready for albums. But I know the next type of share that I want to do is I want to share the layouts that I made while I was in transition, because I have a few that I did that I didn't really share online that much. And so I thought that would be fun too. But thank you for sticking around. I hope you have a great day today, and I hope you guys had a great Halloween, and I will see you later. Bye, guys.